A tense confrontation unfolds between merchants and desperate townspeople begging for food and mercy. The scene reveals corruption involving merchants purchasing goods from corrupt scholars and selling them in the city for bribes and favors. A chase sequence begins as reinforcements arrive. The group is guided to safety by someone who promises to help them escape without endangering townspeople. They must fight their way through while being pursued by Dumbragon forces. A rallying cry inspires people to stand up against exploitation. The crowd responds with enthusiasm to take back what was stolen from them. This leads to a major confrontation where allies emerge and provide backup, creating an opportunity to break through enemy lines. A conversation reveals one warrior has no memory of their past, but demonstrates exceptional fighting skills. Their noble character is praised for helping the weak without seeking compensation, marking them as different from typical wandering warriors. Discussion turns to the Way of Great Peace cult led by Jiao, whose ranks are growing as they promise hope to desperate people. The land is plagued by corruption, natural disasters, and suffering, which some view as heaven lamenting the state of affairs. The historical context of the Yellow Turban Rebellion is explained. In the 7th year of the Guangka era, Zhang initiated a major uprising. The movement gained massive support from suffering peasants, with followers wearing yellow to show unity. The scene shifts to an inn, where a traveler learns about local militia recruitment efforts. The innkeeper shares information about Lord Liu Yan, a noble related to the Han, who is gathering volunteers to fight against the increasingly bold Yellow Turbans. A marketplace incident involves helping a desperate refugee who stole food for their starving family. The situation is resolved through generosity and an offer of employment, showing compassion in difficult times. A reunion occurs between former fighting companions, revealing the brotherhood of Liu Bei, Guan Yu, and Zhang Fei. They invite the skilled warrior to join their volunteer army in the upcoming battle against the Yellow Turban Vanguard. An intense combat test takes place between warriors to prove skills and capabilities. The fight escalates with strategic moves and observations about fighting techniques. While the strikes are fast, they lack the necessary power to break through defenses. The combat test continues as the fighters acknowledge each other's abilities. Despite impressive performance, the match intensifies until others suggest ending it. The test successfully demonstrates considerable fighting prowess from both participants. After the combat test, the volunteer army extends an invitation to join their ranks. A heartfelt discussion about conflicting feelings regarding past events in G follows. The situation with the Yellow Turbans is explained, how they've strayed from justice to attacking innocent people. The volunteer army welcomes their new member warmly. Excitement builds as they prepare for their first battle together. The warriors express confidence in their combined strength and upcoming victory. An intense battle unfolds against thieves who have been stealing from villagers. The fight reveals deeper ideological conflicts about who is truly helping the people. Combat proves successful as enemy officers are defeated. The volunteer army celebrates their first major victory. Leaders must report to the governor, while others are free to rest. The success marks an auspicious beginning for their collective efforts. A mystical discussion about jade light represents hope and peace in the realm. This connects to forgotten memories and a destined role in bringing peace. The true journey is just beginning. Personal history is shared about how the brothers first met at a recruitment poster and bonded under blooming peach trees. Despite initial suspicions, trust begins to form among the group members. The governor is impressed with their success and assigns them to aid government forces in Yingchuan. A discussion about rewards leads to reflection on their true motivations beyond gold, turning dreams into reality. A guardian of peace named Yuha appears, speaking of forgotten memories and shared history. They discuss the mission to stop Zhang Jiao and the Yellow Turbans, who have become a plague upon the people. The nature of power corruption is examined through criminal actions. The importance of applying law equally to all wrongdoers is emphasized. A meeting with important officials leads to recognition of the group's success against the Yellow Turbans. Despite being a humble volunteer force, they receive an opportunity to prove their worth by serving under Chao in the vanguard. A formal introduction takes place between warriors Zhao and Ho Yuan. They discuss their capabilities and express a willingness to work together to help their lord. The interaction suggests these fighters are more reasonable than typical government forces, though it's acknowledged that some government troops can be more brutal than the Yellow Turbans. The discussion turns to the deeper purpose of their battle against the Yellow Turbans, framing it as an opportunity to remove corruption from within the government itself. The conversation emphasizes that their actions serve a greater purpose beyond personal gain and highlights the importance of following the law to maintain humanity. The Yellow Turbans begin their advance, claiming divine support for their cause. However, their claims of heavenly backing and justice are dismissed as shameless rhetoric. A battle ensues where the enemy vanguard is defeated and pushed back, creating momentum for further advancement. A mystical element emerges involving the eyes of a sacred bird called Luan, which grants the power to see through deception and illusions. This ability proves crucial in the battle, allowing the identification of hidden threats and enemy sorcery. The volunteer force achieves a significant victory, breaking through enemy lines and providing critical support. Their success prompts a full advance of all troops, though the enemy leader Chang manages to escape. The victory is attributed largely to the volunteer force's efforts. A warrior receives recognition for their ability to see through enemy sorcery and is given the name Luan, meaning a wind omen that signals the reign of good kings and condemns wicked ones. The name is well received by the group and seems fitting for their mission. Lord Chu-Jin assigns the volunteers a mission to meet with the vanguard at Wan Castle to finish off the Yellow Turbans who have been pushed back. The mission is confidently accepted, demonstrating the growing trust in the volunteer force's abilities. A major battle unfolds at the castle, with forces attempting to breach the walls using ladders. The assault is coordinated with multiple units working together to storm the castle and attempt to open it from within. The battle reaches its climax as enemy spells are broken and Zhang Liang is confronted. Despite calls to keep fighting for a new era, many soldiers begin questioning their cause. The conflict reveals that many fighters simply want enough food to survive rather than truly believing in the promised new era. A reflective discussion occurs about the nature of rebellion and revolt. Rather than simply condemning those who revolt, there is consideration that the true blame may lie with the injustices of society that drive people to take such desperate actions. The conversation suggests looking deeper at root causes rather than just surface-level conflict. A recognition of impressive battle performance leads to discussion about victory achieved not through violence, but through persuasion. The ability to convince the Yellow Turbans to lay down arms peacefully is seen as more valuable than defeating them in combat. This demonstrates how diplomatic solutions can be more effective than pure military force. There is analysis of the Yellow Turbans' movement and their motivations. While acknowledging their cause, the speaker notes that dying in battle will not help feed starving families or achieve their goals. The movement is criticized for making false promises that lead desperate people to needless death rather than real change. The conversation shifts to discussing character and honor in warfare. A warrior is praised for having both inner fire and calmness. There is recognition that when imperial power weakens and officials become tyrannical, honorable warriors must rise to meet the challenges of their times. The discussion focuses on battlefield competence and leadership qualities. Special recognition is given to those who can think independently and adapt to unexpected situations. The ideal warrior is described as someone who is level-headed and can balance both physical prowess and tactical thinking. Strategic military planning is discussed regarding the pursuit of key leaders and the consolidation of forces. The conversation reveals how surviving forces are expected to regroup at their home base in Ji province, with various commanders being assigned to different tactical objectives. Battle preparations begin against the Yellow Turbans with focus on securing the central stronghold. Forces are organized for a coordinated assault, with emphasis on maintaining momentum and not letting slower elements hold back the advance. The strategy involves both frontal attacks and tactical destabilization of enemy positions. A philosophical discussion emerges about strength, ideals, and victory. The key point made is that ideals alone are insufficient. Real power is necessary to effect change. The harsh reality is presented that in both political and military spheres, weakness leads to failure, regardless of the nobility of one's cause. The final battle preparations are made as key leaders arrive. There is reflection on the journey from helping suffering people to fighting alongside elite warriors. While some express excitement about making a difference, others counsel patience until victory is actually achieved. The scene builds anticipation for the decisive confrontation ahead. The group rallies together with determination and optimism, ready to put an end to the ongoing turmoil. They recognize their collective strength and express confidence in their ability to succeed, especially with the help of volunteers. The mood is hopeful as they prepare to face the challenges ahead. The strategic plan involves targeting the Yellow Turban's leader while coordinating with Yangdra's forces. With their combined strength, they feel confident about defeating the Yellow Turbans. The focus is on forging through enemy ranks and executing a decisive attack plan. After successfully defeating Zhang Lian, the forces prepare to confront Zhang Jiao. The atmosphere is tense but determined as they know retreat is not an option. Despite the pain and suffering caused by the Yellow Turbans, the troops remain focused on their mission. Zhang Jiao acknowledges the defeat of his brothers who fought to buy him time. As the Guardian of Peace approaches, Zhang Jiao remains defiant, claiming even the gods cannot stop him. The confrontation builds to a climactic face-off between these powerful opponents. During an intense battle, someone reminds Ceylon of their incredible training and potential, comparing their abilities to 1,000 fighters. They speak of awakening the spirit of a god of war within, encouraging them to tap into their true power. After defeating the enemy officer, there are reflections on the nature of peace and good intentions gone wrong. While acknowledging the nobility of wanting to help those in need, it's noted how these actions instead brought more suffering to the masses through misguided idealism. Following Zhang Jiao's apparent defeat, he mysteriously vanishes into thin air. The forces mobilize to find him, knowing he is badly wounded. There's debate about the importance of finding and publicly executing him to prevent him from becoming a martyr for future uprisings. In a poignant moment of reflection, there is discussion of a sage who taught special skills meant to help those in need, with the warning that losing one's way would result in punishment by a guardian of peace. This proves prophetic given current events. Political maneuvering begins as rumors spread about Zhang Jiao's fate. There is discussion about learning from his example, how someone who initially stood up for the suffering became corrupted. This leads to thoughtful reflection about avoiding similar mistakes in the future. There are revelations about the Guardians of Peace, an ancient group who helped establish the Han Dynasty. These skilled warriors could read winds and manipulate events from the shadows of history. Their village faced difficult choices about supporting the Han or embracing change, leading to unrecorded conflicts and losses. A sacred bird named Zilon, the last of their kind, carries the weight and dreams of those lost. Despite wings heavy with blood, they must continue soaring to find a hero who will save the realm. A promise is made to meet again when needed. After proving their worth, one becomes honored as a guardian of peace. Looking back to when they first arrived in the village, impressive growth and development was shown over time. Following the Yellow Turban Rebellion, the Han Dynasty lost effective control. Continued resistance from Yellow Turban remnants and power-hungry clans led to widespread chaos and instability across the land. Despite the Yellow Turban Rebellion settling down, new uprisings emerged everywhere, making the world increasingly dangerous. Professional soldiers stayed busy maintaining order. Letters arrived, possibly containing job offers from wealthy lords. A fateful reunion occurs in Yo Province. After suppressing the Yellow Turbans, some faced discrimination from local officials due to their common background, forcing them to relocate. They sought help from Lord Gongsun-Zan, who welcomed them warmly. Battle strategy discussion reveals enemy advantages in positioning and likely traps. A plan forms to operate as a mobile unit separate from the main force for better battlefield adaptability. A mission begins to crush rebels taking advantage of the chaos. The first target is Zhang in the mountains. Forces mobilize under strong leadership to defeat the enemy officers and quash the rebellion. Victory brings temporary peace to the province, but rebellions continue across the land. The chaos presents both challenges and opportunities for world-changing action. Despite lacking official titles, there is determination to make a difference, step by step. A farewell conversation reflects on integrity in battle and pure hearts. Discussion turns to finding the right leader to follow, with Liu Bei showing potential as a true ruler of the land. The moment is preserved in memory before parting ways. An interesting revelation about Yellow Turban leader Chao's special herbs emerges. These herbs could induce visions and heal wounds, explaining many of his miraculous feats. A doctor named Yuan Hua offers to help investigate mysterious memory loss while traveling together. A light-hearted moment filled with laughter sets the scene before transitioning into more serious military matters. The mood shifts as discussions of provincial control and government forces emerge. The situation escalates as bandits become increasingly aggressive, being compared to beasts that need to be dealt with through military force. An intense battle sequence unfolds with various military engagements. The fighting is fierce as officers clash and territories change hands. Commands are shouted and victories are claimed as the conflict intensifies. The chaos of battle is evident as multiple enemy officers fall in defeat. The focus shifts to Liang Province, described as a harsh frontier region far from the imperial court's influence. The local climate and geography create tough conditions where survival depends on strength. The people live freely but face constant struggles, making it a hotbed for uprisings. A critique of the capital emerges, describing it as stagnant and full of deception rather than honest battles of strength. The Han Dynasty is portrayed as a kingdom of death where the deceased consume the living, highlighting the decay of the current political system. The narrative shifts to a meeting about handling bandits, introducing key characters including Sun Shang-Xian, daughter of Sun Qian. Plans are made for upcoming military operations, with discussions about roles and responsibilities. The atmosphere is collaborative as strategies are formed. A tactical military engagement begins with forces dealing with enemies holding high ground. The situation becomes tense as hidden soldiers are revealed and a stalemate develops. Strategic planning becomes crucial as they work to overcome their positional disadvantage. Victory is achieved against the bandits of Jing, bringing peace to the region. The success is attributed to strong leadership and teamwork. The people can return to normal life, and the governor receives praise for protecting the territory effectively. A personal conversation reveals inner struggles with fear during battle. There is discussion about maintaining composure in combat and drawing inspiration from others' courage. The importance of self-improvement and overcoming fear is emphasized. Sima Hui, also known as Water Mirror, introduces himself as a wandering scholar seeking knowledge and connections. He shows interest in learning more about others and offers to share information about the realm and local happenings at his retreat. The consort clan represents the extended family of the emperor, specifically focusing on the relatives of the empress rather than direct descendants of the throne. The current empress comes from a common background, and her brother, Lord Hejin, serves as the Grand General, showing how life can take unexpected turns. Eunuchs serve in the highest levels of society. While it's considered an esteemed profession, it's a permanent life-altering choice that prevents returning to normal life. This creates a significant social dynamic within the imperial court structure. There are concerns about maintaining order near Sully, which sits close to the emperor's domain. Despite orders from Lord Hagen to show restraint, some worry that lenient treatment of troublemakers might lead to attacks on innocent travelers in the future. Wang Yun and his daughter Diao Chan introduce themselves after a confrontation. Wang Yun reveals his past as governor of Yu Province during the Yellow Turban Rebellion, explaining how corrupt attendants caused him to lose his position. They now seek help to fight against the attendants' corruption. News spreads about the emperor's declining health. Meanwhile, Diao Chan shares her backstory as an adopted daughter trained to be a weapon against corruption. She originated from a small mountain village before Wang Yun took her in, following a devastating fire. Word spreads that the emperor has passed away, creating uncertainty about the future leadership of the land. Wang Yun receives an invitation from Lord He Jin in the capital, suggesting plans to eliminate the attendants. He Jin, as Grand General and the Empress brother, leads the consort clan. During their journey to Luoyan, the group encounters White Wave bandits. The poverty and heavy taxation plaguing the people are revealed to be consequences of the attendants demanding bribes from magistrates. This reinforces the urgent need to eliminate the 10 attendants causing turmoil. The group falls into a trap set by bandits at a fortress, facing overwhelming numbers. Government forces arrive unexpectedly to help maintain order in the Sully region, providing an opportunity to defeat the enemy leader. After surviving the bandit attack, they meet Dongzhuo, described as a cunning but beast-like man. His reluctance to enter the capital suggests he senses danger. The heavily guarded attendant stronghold might require his raw power to breach. The situation in Luoyan is becoming increasingly tense as treasonous retainers in the capital must be dealt with. Lord Hajin and Lord Wang Yun are key allies in this fight. With the Yellow Turbans barely defeated, corruption has taken root in the seat of power, which must be eliminated to prevent another uprising. Following the emperor's death, a new emperor quickly took the throne and received the imperial seal. However, the real power lies with the 10 attendants, a group of palace eunuchs who control things behind the scenes. Lord He Jin has called upon regional lords to come eliminate these corrupt officials. Lords from across the land have gathered at Grand General Hajin's call. While some see this as an opportunity to display power, others warn that attempts to burn away corruption could spiral out of control. The situation becomes more complex when Hajin is summoned to the imperial court. The 10 attendants have misled the emperor through their greed. Forces are mobilizing to hunt them down, rescue the emperor, and fulfill the late Grand General's plan. The palace has become a battlefield as troops prepare to engage the corrupt officials who have barricaded themselves inside. Lord Dongzhuo spots the emperor's carriage on the main road and prepares to intercept it, seeing an opportunity to gain something valuable. Meanwhile, the situation in Luoyang continues to deteriorate with increasing numbers of wounded and sick as local doctors flee the chaos. Concerns grow about Lord Wang Yun's responsibility for the chaos, as his actions against the 10 attendants led to an even greater threat in Dongzhuo's forces rampaging through the city and disrupting the imperial court. The situation weighs heavily on Wang Yun's conscience. A philosophical discussion emerges about how eliminating one source of unrest simply leads to another taking its place. The key to achieving lasting peace lies in finding and supporting the right hero who can create positive change beyond the immediate chaos. Powerful soldiers trained under the recently deceased Governor Deng Yuan have joined forces, making it potentially too late for anyone to challenge them. Lord Yuan Shao departed from Luoyang after realizing his forces were outmatched. An elderly figure expresses regret about bringing the capital to ruin. A former civil servant reveals their secret role working in the shadows, using spies and assassins to eliminate rebel forces and political rivals. This was common practice in the imperial court, with hidden villages and mountains training these operatives. The Guardians of Peace are described as legendary assassins descended from a hero who fought alongside Emperor Gao Zhu. They are believed to possess divine warrior abilities and even practice sorcery, working secretly to maintain peace. Their village was possibly destroyed before the Yellow Turban Rebellion. Major political upheaval has occurred as Dongzhuo deposed the emperor and forced Prince Liu Xia to take the throne. His brutal forces have killed or banished opponents, while the people of Luoyang live in constant fear. The situation calls for decisive action against Dongzhuo. Plans are being made to assassinate Dongzhuo. Lord Wang Yun has provided his prized sword for the mission. The stakes are extremely high, with all participants willing to risk everything for the success of this dangerous undertaking. A search continues for a hero capable of saving the land. After a narrow escape, the group discusses gathering a massive army to defeat Dongzhuo, even if it means temporary chaos. They plan to seek support from nobility to build their forces. Multiple governors and lords pledge their support to the alliance against Dongzhuo. Wang Quang of Heinei and Xiangyang of Shandan join forces with Yuan Shao, who has been chosen to lead the coalition. The strategic decision to have Yuan Shao lead is praised as brilliant. New warriors continue joining the alliance, including Li Dian and Yue Jin, both described as dependable fighters. The growing number of recruits brings optimism to the cause. A figure named Sun Gong also makes an appearance at this gathering of forces. A former servant of Dong Duar, who secretly helped during an escape, has joined Lord Zhao's forces. This person switched allegiance not out of honor, but because their wisdom would be better utilized under Lord Cao Chao. Many volunteers from across the land have gathered, including some familiar faces from past battles against the Yellow Turbans. The current situation with Deng Shuai has proven more dangerous than initially thought, though it's considered more straightforward than the Yellow Turban Rebellion. With many lords gathered together, there's confidence that working together will lead to success, especially given everyone's increased combat experience from previous battles. The coalition includes troops serving various lords, plus independent volunteers. These unaffiliated volunteers, though few in number, are honorable fighters. A new commander has been chosen to lead them based on their battlefield assessment skills and independence from noble politics. The volunteer troops are diverse, ranging from martial arts experts to former farmers. They share a common goal of making the world better. The troops express pride in serving under their new commander and eagerly await orders. The united forces begin their mission for justice, planning to first pass through Shui Gate before heading to Moya. The army advances with determination to protect and maintain pace with the ongoing conflicts. After intense fighting, the forces successfully break through Shui Gate. Despite initial concerns, the troops fought bravely and learned valuable lessons. However, tensions emerged between coalition members, particularly between Yuan Shu and Sun Jian. Notable warriors like Wan Yu and Zhang Fei prove their worth in battle. However, the coalition faces internal struggles with troops divided by different motivations. Some fight for world betterment, others answer a call to action, while some seek to replace Dongzhuo. Despite these differences, the focus remains on individual contribution to the cause. The battle against Dongzhuo intensifies. The coalition forces learn from their previous mistakes at Shui Gate and seize an opportunity when they notice the enemy's rear guard is undermanned. They launch a strategic assault through enemy ranks. Three brothers unite in battle, their combined strength proving formidable. They successfully stop Louis Vu's advance, creating an opportunity to confront Dongzhuo quickly. However, friendly fire incidents occur with soldiers being hit by their own side's stones and arrows. A tense confrontation unfolds as someone expresses disbelief at discovering an officer's identity. They discuss how the Han authority has crumbled since the Yellow Turban Rebellion, comparing themselves to beasts fighting over carrion. The dialogue reflects the breakdown of order and justice in this chaotic period. The battle intensifies with one party being cornered but refusing to admit defeat. There are repeated calls of submission to might and mind, showing the struggle for dominance. The enemy officer proves formidable, but eventually must retreat, ordering Luoyang to be set ablaze to prevent pursuit. News arrives that the emperor has been moved to Chang'an, revealing Dongzhuo had planned to abandon Luoyang. While some want immediate pursuit, Yuan Shao insists on staying to rebuild the city and help its people. This creates tension between those focused on defeating Dongzhuo versus helping civilians. The conversation turns to broader ambitions, with discussion of how the Yellow Turbans and Dongzhuo have thrown the world into chaos. Someone steps forward claiming they are worthy to restore order to the land, though this claim is met with skepticism about overreaching their station. The discovery of the imperial seal in Luoyang's ruins becomes a point of contention. The alliance leader demands it be surrendered to their keeping, suggesting that hiding it would be an act of rebellion. This reveals growing distrust and power struggles within the coalition. Sun Jian announces his departure from the coalition to Changsha, despite regrets about not defeating Dongzhuo. This leads to recruitment attempts and discussion about the imperial seal's proper handling, highlighting the coalition's fracturing unity. The discussion continues about coalition members' future plans. Some choose to leave, recognizing the army no longer has the strength to defeat Dongzhuo. They debate whether immediate action or careful planning is better, showing different approaches to handling the crisis. A group of soldiers pledge loyalty to their captain, asking to continue serving under their command despite the coalition's disbandment. This shows how personal loyalties are forming amid the larger political breakdown. The coalition against Dongzhuo officially collapses as individual aims take precedence over shared objectives. Some seek domination, while others focus on defending their territories, marking the end of Han Dynasty stability and the beginning of widespread conflict. A conversation takes place about managing an establishment in someone's absence. The proprietor mentions being instructed to provide utmost hospitality to a special guest. The absent master is described as free-spirited, going wherever the wind takes him. The special guest is noted to have an intriguing air of mystery, exactly matching prior descriptions. A discussion occurs with Luan about finding a true hero among leaders like Cao, Sun Jian, and Liu Bei. The conversation emphasizes the inevitable clash between these figures and the importance of choosing sides wisely, noting that those who take wrong paths must be eliminated, similar to Zhang and Dongzhuo. A meeting takes place regarding the Yellow Turban's threat. They have survived without their leader through pillaging and have amassed forces in Qing province, preparing to raid Yin. The previous governor, Liu Dai, was killed by these rebels. The current situation reflects the chaos of the times, with the Yellow Turbans described as desperate but dangerous enemies. A confrontation with captured Yellow Turbans reveals their motivation for fighting, survival. A discussion ensues about creating a new society based on creation and sharing rather than stealing. The captives are offered a chance to join in building this new society, with reference to the defeat of their former leader, Jiao. The scene shifts to Puyan, where the Yellow Turbans have been integrated into the Qing militia. The city has successfully incorporated 1 million new people, transforming former bandits into a productive force that helps with farming and training. This development shows promise for restoring order to the chaotic era. A social gathering reveals past events involving Dongzhuo and Lord Wan Yuan. The atmosphere becomes more relaxed as drinks flow, allowing usually reserved individuals to open up and share stories. New connections are made between acquaintances now serving under Lord Cao. A strict training session emphasizes the importance of discipline and proper military preparation. The commander stresses that without proper training in strategy and war principles, disaster is inevitable. The soldiers from Qin are being transformed into a proper fighting force. A conversation with Xin Luan discusses the dangerous state of the world and the endless stream of wounded people. The Yellow Turban Rebellion is described as a catalyst for widespread chaos, with references to Zhang Zhao's attempt to change the world. Liu Bei is adjusting to his new role as governor of Pingmi. Despite his elevated position, he appears uncomfortable with the formal treatment and pleasantries, showing a more down-to-earth personality. The meeting concludes with a request for assistance with an urgent matter. After parting ways in Luoyang, the group returned to Yao Province with Lord Gongsun-Zan. They were appointed to government positions in Pingyud, where their work received high praise. Their success was attributed to their brothers' deeds, which were becoming known across the land, though they remained humble and acknowledged Lord Gongsun-Zan's support as crucial. Lord Gongsun-Zan was under attack from Yuan Shao in Ji Province and struggling. While they owed much to Gongsun and wanted to help, Yuan Shao had gained significant power in Xi and now commanded greater forces than during the coalition. Despite being outnumbered, they felt compelled to fight and summoned allies for assistance. From their vantage point, they spotted a potential ambush point where Gongsun-Zan's forces would be vulnerable to attack from the hill's hidden lee side. They quickly moved to warn Lord Gongsun-Zan about the trap that could lead to devastating casualties if forces attacked head-on. After an intense battle, they encountered Xiangyang of Chengsang-san, who served under Lord Gongsun-Zan. Xiangyang expressed gratitude for earlier assistance before departing for Pineland. The exchange highlighted themes of honor, duty, and fighting for others without expecting rewards. Tai Shitsu of Donglai requested help for Governor Kong Zhong of Beihain, who was under attack from Yellow Turban remnants. Though initially hesitant due to their army needing recovery time, they ultimately agreed to provide aid, staying true to their mission of helping those in need, regardless of potential gain. The enemy forces had established a solid encirclement that would be challenging to break. They decided to tackle it gradually, with Zhongfi approaching from the complex eastern terrain. Despite risks of getting lost, they successfully penetrated the defenses to assist Lord Kong Zhong. A training session revealed Silwan's growing combat abilities, though still requiring more development. Discussion ensued about proper training methods, with some arguing for more serious instruction given Silwan's unique abilities that were rare for someone born outside their village. The conversation shifted to broader themes of leadership and responsibility, with discussions about future roles in maintaining peace in the realm. The scene concluded with hints about the village's special significance and the presence of a distinctive herb similar to one used by Zhang Jiao. The discussion begins by exploring how certain smells, particularly incense used by Zhang Jiao, might trigger memories of past events. There is speculation about recreating the exact scent used by the Guardians of Peace to help recover lost memories. The conversation shifts to discussing sacred birds Luan and Ha, which appear only when great rulers emerge. 3 individuals, Chuha, Bai Luan, and Ziluan, were raised and trained together by a skilled teacher named Ziluan. Despite memory loss, their combat training remains muscle memory. A personal story emerges about learning medicine from a father who was a renowned doctor, called a saint by some. Despite his skills, he overworked himself and ultimately could not save himself from illness. This reflects on how we build upon the knowledge of those before us. The narrative turns to a tragic event involving Lord Cao Chao's father, who was assassinated while visiting Shu province. This incident becomes a catalyst for war, though it's debated whether bandits or Lord Tao Chen was responsible for the killing. The strategic implications of using this tragedy are discussed. Rather than pure vengeance, it's seen as an opportunity to advance larger goals. The discussion emphasizes using every advantage available, even personal tragedies, while not letting emotions interfere with progress. The scene shifts to a conversation with Liu Bei, who is asked to help defend Tao Qian against Cao Cao's invasion. The situation is complicated by questions of justice and revenge, with uncertainty about the true motives behind the military campaign. Concerns are raised about Cao Cao's intentions and the possibility of becoming future targets. The discussion weighs the balance between noble purposes and brutal actions, questioning whether following the most righteous path always leads to virtue. Additional troops arrive as reinforcements, offered to help repay a debt from Jishu. This strategic alliance strengthens the defensive position against the incoming invasion, showing the importance of loyalty and mutual support. Battle preparations begin with tactical discussions about troop positions. Despite being outnumbered, the defenders organize their forces to protect the castle, counting on coordination between different units to make up for their disadvantage. A triumphant moment occurs after successfully holding off Cao Cao thanks to Liu Bei's aid. While some view Cao Cao as immoral, others note that pure reason, not righteousness or greed, drives his actions. This is evident in how he approached avenging his father's death and his current campaign to take Shu, acting out of necessity rather than emotion. News spreads that Tao Qin wants to hand over Shu's governorship due to concerns about future attacks. Though this seems like a great opportunity for advancement, the offer is declined, citing insufficient aspirations for such responsibility. Instead, they will receive the territory of Shalpei to protect the province of Shu. A touching exchange occurs between allies who fought together at Yechou. They express mutual gratitude for watching each other's backs in battle. There is discussion about swearing allegiance to Liu Bei, highlighting his admirable qualities and the challenges ahead. Hope is expressed for walking the same path again in the future. During a battle, Changfei of Yan appears to assist. The forces focus on protecting Shu and Lord Taoqian's place through strategic ambushes and coordinated attacks. Despite some challenging moments, they successfully repel the enemy's offensive and begin their own advance. After securing Shu's safety through outstanding performance in battle, attention turns to discussions between their leader and Tao Qin. Due to Tao Qian's worsening illness, urgent talks about the future governance of Shu take place. The pressing question of who will protect and lead Shu's people remains. News arrives that Diao defeated Louis Bu at Puyang. Yuan Shao and allies seek to eliminate Louis Bu completely. Despite Louis Bu's questionable history of betraying previous lords, he seeks help. This creates a dilemma as some worry about his trustworthiness while recognizing their leader's tendency to help others. A complex battle plan unfolds, involving a rendezvous with Lord Louis Bu while managing a strategic retreat against opposing forces. The situation becomes intense as enemies attempt to cut off Liu Bu's escape route. Despite superior numbers against them, fierce resistance continues while awaiting reinforcements. Liu Bei's arrival brings hope to the battle. While Lord Louis Vu fights on the front lines, coordination begins for an organized retreat. Despite some suggesting withdrawal, intense combat continues with both sides showing remarkable determination and skill in battle. The situation begins with Cao Cao's forces being pushed back, prompting an immediate call for pursuit and attack. However, this charge ahead is criticized as foolish and potentially worthy of execution. Despite initial doubts, the group successfully makes it out alive and heads back to base. A report comes in that Duibu has escaped and enemy reinforcements have been spotted. This leads to a strategic decision to fall back, postponing the pursuit of Duibu for another time. The events showcase how tactical retreats are sometimes necessary in battle. Duibu displays his typical arrogance, refusing to show gratitude for being rescued. This leads to tension as Zhang Fei and others express frustration at his attitude, especially given the losses sustained during the rescue mission. The situation becomes heated as pride clashes with expectations of courtesy. A deal is proposed to Duibu. Rather than demanding thanks or respect, they simply request his military strength to make up for their losses. Intrigued by this practical approach, Duibu agrees to join forces, viewing it as an opportunity to alleviate his boredom. There are concerns about bringing Duibu into their ranks, but it is justified as a strategic necessity. The reasoning is that if rejected, he might join rival factions like Lord Cao, potentially threatening Shu. This showcases the complex political calculations involved in such alliances. A personal connection is revealed regarding Diao Chang at Wang Yun's residence. The conversation touches on past events, including Dongzhuo's death and subsequent political turmoil that led to Wang Yun's demise and Diao Chan's disappearance. The exchange reveals deeper emotional undertones. Liu Bei shows growth in his leadership, holding firm to his ideals despite uncertainty. His potential is likened to a snake transforming into a sky-ruling dragon. This metaphorical description positions him as a possible hero capable of ending the ongoing chaos. Liu Bei confides his doubts about accepting Duibu, wrestling with the balance between helping those in need and protecting his people. He seeks guidance and support, expressing vulnerability rarely shown to others, even his closest allies. The political landscape shifts as Cao Cao gains control over the imperial throne, prompting reactions from rival warlords. Meanwhile, Sun Ce and Zhou Yu plan for independence from Yuan Shu, while Liu Bei grapples with uncertainty despite his alliance with Duibu. A new ally joins the camp, bringing hope and additional strength to Liu Bei's forces. This development is met with mixed reactions, highlighting the complex dynamics within the group. An imperial order arrives commanding Liu Bei to eliminate Yuan Shu, who has proclaimed himself emperor. This order, though technically from the emperor, is recognized as actually coming from Cao Tzu, adding political complexity to the situation. A battle unfolds with strategic positioning and trap setting in the north and south. The middle ground becomes crucial, leading to intense combat and eventually resulting in victory against Yuan Shu's forces. After drinking in town due to boredom while guarding the castle, a major mistake was made that led to losing control of it. The group discusses recapturing the castle from Liu Bu, but the decision is made not to attack Chiappe due to exhausted troops and overwhelming odds against Lord Liu Bu's forces. Losing Chiappe brings an unexpected sense of relief. There is deep reflection on whether past choices were correct and what it truly means to make the world better. The answers might lie in understanding someone like Lord Liu Bu. The group prepares to withdraw from their current position. There is concern about recent changes in leadership behavior, particularly the lack of fighting spirit and unusual acceptance of defeat. Some suggest this passive response might be rooted in an overly generous nature, though this tolerance could prove dangerous. A heartfelt reflection reveals the journey from humble beginnings to an unexpectedly high position of power. The speaker explains They never wanted to rule from a castle, but rather sought to help people. They accept Lord Louis Bol protecting Shui if it benefits the people. An imperial decree arrives ordering the suppression of Yuanchu, with Lord Luibu now in charge instead of the current leadership. This creates tension between the groups, though they ultimately decide to work together against Yuan Shu, viewing him as a common enemy. Discussion turns to loyalty and service choices, with some expressing disappointment about allegiances. Despite serving different lords, there is agreement to support each other in battle. However, tensions surface regarding perceived weakness in following certain leaders. Battle preparations begin with plans to attack Shuchun from the east. Forces mobilize against the false emperor, emphasizing their loyalty to Han. Strategic positions are secured and military maneuvers coordinated between allied forces. After achieving victory and securing Shu's safety, deeper conversations emerge about purpose and direction. The leadership reflects on their position compared to others like Lord South Cao and Lord Lubu, acknowledging their own limitations while discovering a new vision. A powerful vision is shared for creating a world where people can live freely and choose their own paths without being controlled by others. Despite current powerlessness and need to remain under Lord Cao Cao's control, there is commitment to this future goal. At the beginning, there is a discussion about staying committed to personal values and beliefs despite challenges. The focus is on remaining authentic and pursuing power through one's own chosen path. The conversation has an encouraging and determined tone about overcoming difficulties ahead. Major concerns are raised about Louis Bu, who is described as a beast-like figure wielding destructive power. There are mixed opinions about his nature, with some seeing potential good qualities while others express strong disapproval. The conversation reveals growing tension within the group about maintaining loyalty and fighting spirit. Urgent news arrives about Louis Vu's forces advancing on Chape. This development is linked to Lord South Cao's strategic maneuvering involving an intercepted letter. The situation exposes dishonorable tactics and raises questions about alliances and negotiations. A crucial decision point emerges as Louis Vu's vision is rejected as being incompatible with the group's ideals. The solution proposed is to break away from Louis Vu and form an alliance with Cao Cao's army, viewing it as a strategic necessity rather than an ideal partnership. Military operations begin with forces joining Lord Cao Cao's army and leaving Luo army behind. The action involves coordinated movements and tactical engagements, with various officers taking defensive and offensive positions in the battlefield. The narrative shifts to personal reflections on past failures and growth, particularly regarding the loss of Yape. There is acknowledgement of how setbacks led to greater strength and unity. The bond between brothers and allies is reinforced through their shared commitment. A major battle operation commences involving flooding tactics and coordinated attacks on multiple fronts. The strategic assault includes dam destruction and attempts to breach castle gates, showing careful planning and execution. The conflict reaches its climax with a final confrontation against Louis Bu. The battle requires coordinated effort from all allies, highlighting the importance of teamwork in facing this formidable opponent. The battle concludes with victory, leading to decisions about the fate of the defeated. The aftermath involves complex emotions and considerations about justice and mercy, revealing the challenging nature of post-conflict resolution. Three warriors gather to spar and reflect on their journey from humble beginnings in Yo to becoming respected officers who meet with royalty. They discuss how much has changed, though one feels they have remained the same, and contemplates making personal changes, like giving up drinking. The discussion turns to concerns about Dongzhuo's treatment of the emperor as a puppet ruler. While the emperor does not openly criticize him, there are worries about his true feelings. They debate whether other leaders like Yuan Shao or Liu Bei might be more worthy of trust. news arrives that Gongsun-Zan was defeated by Yuan Shao at Ajing. Despite losing this mentor figure, there is excitement about the coming changes as Yuan Shao now controls 4 northern provinces, making conflict with Cao Cao inevitable. The political landscape is shifting dramatically. A secret plan emerges to oppose Cao Cao, though the emperor's true intentions remain unclear. The group agrees to help, staying true to their mission of aiding those in need. They decide to establish their own base at Wan Castle after breaking away from Cao Cao's influence. While Liu Bei negotiates with Yuan Shao, others defend Wan Castle, where Liu Bei's family resides. They must stay alert for potential attacks from Cao Cao's officers, though the commander himself is occupied fighting Yuan Shu's forces. Reflections on Liu Bei's evolution as a leader, noting how he has found more concrete purpose beyond vague aspirations of doing good. His allies pledge continued support as he seizes this opportunity for greater achievements. Cao Cao's forces suddenly attack Wan Castle. Despite being outnumbered, Guan Yu leads a fierce defense, determined to protect Liu Bei's stronghold and family. The battle intensifies as enemies breach the castle defenses. As the castle falls, Guan Yu negotiates surrender terms. He will surrender to the emperor, not Cao Cao. Liu Bei's family must be protected, and he reserves the right to rejoin his brothers when found. Cao Cao accepts these conditions. After the surrender, Cao Cao thanks Guan Yu for ensuring Liu Bei's family's safety and invites him to join his service permanently. Though flattered, Guan Yu remains loyal to his sworn brothers, despite uncertainty about Liu Bei's fate. Cao Cao gives him time to consider the offer. A person expresses their need to repay a debt before departing while waiting to learn their brother's location. Despite any hardships, they believe their brother is key to helping victims during troubled times. The tone is hopeful, yet determined, showing deep familial loyalty and belief in their brother's potential role as a savior figure. Someone reunites unexpectedly with Luan, who had joined Liu Bei. They express surprise and joy at having both Luan and Guan Yu in their grasp, viewing it as an amazing gift. Their words reveal complex political dynamics and changing allegiances during a turbulent period. The Yuan Chao's forces have gathered around Baima in overwhelming numbers, trying to use their size advantage. However, their massive army could lead to overconfidence. The strategy involves finding and exploiting their weak points, possibly by separating their forces to defeat them gradually. A tactical plan unfolds where one force will act as bait to lure away the main enemy army, while another group will slip through to relieve Baima Castle. This clever strategy aims to divide the opposing forces and create an opening for a successful mission. The conflict with Cao Cao intensifies, with accusations of corruption and protecting an unjust throne. Despite Cao Cao's loyalty to the Han court, opposing forces see him as a target that must be eliminated to restore peace and protect the weak. Yuan Shao expresses shock at losing both Yan Liang and Wen Chao in battle. While acknowledging Zhao's success, they remain confident in their superior might. The victorious side decides to pull back their forces despite the win, planning to make their final stand at Guandu. An emotional reunion occurs where one person has forgotten their past identity and mission. They are criticized for aligning with Zhao and abandoning their role as a guardian of peace. The conversation reveals deep personal history and broken promises. A discussion about Chuha reveals she may have been a mirage created by guilt. The focus turns to unlocking the past through special incense used by guardians of peace, with someone offering to help uncover potentially difficult truths about their history. A poignant revelation occurs as a memory fragment explains their nature as a mirage born from survivors' guilt. They encourage moving forward without regret, emphasizing that past guilt shouldn't shape future choices, but rather be guided by personal conviction. An emotional conversation takes place about a rewarding journey together. The journey involved meeting many people fighting to survive in chaotic times. There's discussion about possibly extending their time together rather than parting ways. A heartfelt conversation about family tradition in medicine occurs. The speaker shares how medical knowledge and healing ideals were passed down through generations, from father to son. They express desire to continue traveling together to pass on these ideals, similar to how Chuha passed dreams to others. A strategic military discussion unfolds about Yuan Shao's army near Guandu. Despite having superior numbers, they've grown cautious after losses at Baima. Meanwhile, dwindling supplies favor Yuan Shao's side. Reports emerge of potential revolts near Shu City, with rumors of Liu Bei's involvement. Plans are made to reunite with Liu Bei while properly thanking Lord Cao Cao for assistance. The focus is on taking custody of Liu Bei's family and beginning a new journey together. The mood is hopeful and determined. An intense confrontation occurs as Guan Yu attempts to pass through battle lines to find his brother. Despite having permission from Lord Tao Tao, they face resistance and must fight their way through. The situation escalates into combat. A joyful reunion takes place as brothers come together unharmed. Liu Bei's family is safely retrieved and stories are shared about their long journey. Emotional oaths of dedication and loyalty are exchanged, strengthening their bonds. A celebratory feast is arranged to welcome new friends. The atmosphere is light and festive as everyone gathers together. Under the stars, they reflect on the trivial nature of distance between people compared to the vast universe. Major political shifts occur as Cao Cao defeats Yuan Shao to become the most powerful figure in the land. The Sun clan faces challenges but secures territory for the kingdom of Yu. Liu Bei, still without territory, focuses on finding meaning in uncertainty. Reflections on Yuan Shao's defeat and death bring up discussions of gratitude and missed opportunities. The group debates their next moves, acknowledging the rapid pace of change and their need for guidance. The conversation turns to seeking wisdom in Jing, where great minds gather. However, practical concerns about their current castle in Runan create hesitation about pursuing new directions. The discussion reflects their struggle to balance ambition with reality. A deep personal reflection begins about feeling lost while pursuing the dream of creating a world where people can choose their own paths. Despite repeatedly declaring this ideal, there is uncertainty about how to make it reality. However, hope emerges as the path forward slowly becomes clearer. The group discusses building their ranks with strong fighters and finding someone smart to guide them. There are concerns about finding the right person who is both intelligent and honest, rather than someone arrogant. A sense of unity and careful consideration about new additions is expressed. News arrives that enemy forces led by Cao Cao are mounting an attack on Runan. Despite being a smaller force, they must decide whether to flee to Jing province, where Lord Liu Biao might offer protection. There are concerns about bringing conflict to Jing and its people. The group decides to prioritize survival over pride, choosing to escape rather than fight a losing battle. They acknowledge they might be called cowards, but determine that preserving their forces is more important than kingdoms or castles at this point. The enemy forces recognize that the strength of their opponents lies in their tight-knit officer group. They develop a strategy focused on separating these officers. Meanwhile, the defending forces prepare for a complex escape operation. After a narrow escape from what seemed like an overwhelming force, the group successfully makes it through. They reflect on how everyone played their part in surviving against the massive army, demonstrating their remarkable teamwork and resilience. At their new location, some members grow restless during peacetime. While some want action, others remind them of their responsibilities to govern well and earn the trust of local people. There is tension between maintaining stability and pursuing larger ambitions. A crucial banquet is being held at Xiangyang, hosted by Lord Liu Biao. Careful consideration goes into choosing an escort, settling on someone who can be unobtrusive while remaining vigilant. There are underlying tensions within the political factions of Jing. The situation takes a dramatic turn when urgent news arrives about trouble at the banquet. Something has happened to Liu Bei, causing great concern among his allies. The exact nature of the crisis remains unclear as they scramble to respond. During a banquet hosted by Lord Liu Biao, an incident occurred where Lord Liu Bei mysteriously disappeared. A retainer named Tai Mao had suggested separating the lords and retainers into different rooms, which was initially rejected but later enforced by Liu Bei's command. When Liu Biao later informed them that Liu Bei had gone to relieve himself and never returned, the banquet erupted into chaos. It was revealed that Tai Mao had plotted to seize control of Qing by eliminating Liu Bei, using the separate room arrangement as a strategy to isolate him. Liu Biao, upon discovering this treachery, rebuked Tai Mao and placed him under strict surveillance, demonstrating he had no prior knowledge of the plot. The group organized a search party to find Liu Bei. They split up to cover more ground, with some heading to Xiangyang and others to Xiangyang. Various witnesses reported different sightings, including one of an elegantly dressed man at the southern market and another of someone on horseback being chased by soldiers heading west. Liu Bei was eventually found safe and explained his adventure. When he realized Tai Mao's plot at the banquet, he pretended to relieve himself and escaped. Lost in unfamiliar territory, he wandered into the mountains until finding a hermitage belonging to Sima Huai, also known as Master Shui Jing. Sima Huai gave Liu Bei cryptic advice about choosing between two individuals, the sleeping dragon or the fledgling phoenix, suggesting this choice would illuminate his path forward. Despite attempts to learn their real names, Sima Huai remained mysteriously vague, implying Liu Bei needed to discover their identities through his own efforts. The narrative shifts as Cao Tu's forces suddenly attack their castle with an unfamiliar battle formation. While some suggested defending from inside the castle, concerns arose about soldier morale and burdening the people of Xinya with a prolonged siege. A new character named Shishu is introduced as their military strategist. Despite initial skepticism from Zhang Fei, Liu Bei vouches for Shishu's military expertise, describing him as a gift from heaven during their time of need. Shishu identifies the enemy formation as the Eight Gates formation and warns against reckless charges. He requests to observe the enemy ranks more closely to develop an effective counter-strategy. Liu Bei orders everyone to follow Shishu's commands as if they were his own. A strategic discussion reveals that multiple gates exist in the formation, with three critical ones being life, view, and opening gates. These have been cleverly concealed, making them challenging to identify. Choosing incorrectly would lead to dire consequences. However, there's hope in finding subtle differences between these gates and the others. The team decides to advance toward the formation, searching for distinguishing features among the gates. Unfortunately, they enter through the wrong gate, the Gate of Destruction. This leads to a challenging confrontation with a formidable enemy officer. Despite the setback, they press forward with determination to disrupt the counterattack. Through sheer force and direct combat, rather than tactical finesse, the enemy officer is defeated. This unexpected approach catches their opponents off guard, showing that sometimes brute strength can triumph over complex strategy. A mysterious fog appears, disorienting the forces. Despite this challenge, the battle continues with intense determination. The fog creates confusion and forces some to retreat, while others stand their ground to hold off advancing enemies. The tide of battle shifts as Liu Bei's forces grow stronger. This development leads to important revelations about allegiances and motivations, particularly regarding the protection of Liu Bei and his role in opposing Cao Cao. The fledgling phoenix is revealed to be living a peaceful life as a hermit and initially declines to serve Liu Bei, despite acknowledging his greatness. He requests that this meeting be kept private from Liu Bei. The search for Zhuge Liang's hermitage proved successful, though unexpected. Despite some concerns about replacing their current advisor, they decide to seek Zhuge Liang's counsel based on Shisha's recommendation. Multiple attempts to meet with Zhuge Liang prove unsuccessful, though they remain hopeful he'll eventually respond. The team decides to be patient and continue their pursuit, believing the honor of Liu Bei's personal visit will eventually draw him out. The situation takes an unexpected turn when Shishu announces his departure from service, citing concerns for his elderly mother. This sudden development adds complexity to their ongoing efforts to recruit Zhuge Liang. The team is left questioning the timing and true reasons behind Shishu's departure. A touching farewell scene unfolds as someone must reluctantly leave their post. Despite wanting to stay, they make the difficult but admirable choice to fulfill their family obligations. Their superior graciously offers support and assistance, showing great understanding of the situation. The situation becomes clearer. The person is leaving Xinyu because their mother is being held hostage by Cao Tsu's army, disguised as protection. Though they could have asked Lord Liu Bei for help, they chose not to distract him from his important mission. Before departing, they make one final request for someone to look after Lord Liu Bei. The scene shifts to a group discussing their repeated attempts to meet with someone. Despite feeling frustrated about having to keep returning, their leader emphasizes humility and persistence. They particularly need a military strategist now that they've lost Shishu, making this endeavor worth their time and pride. Finally, meeting the sleeping dragon, Zhuge Liang, Liu Bei passionately explains his mission to create a world where people can live freely. Their philosophical discussion explores what it truly means to live as one wishes, with Liu Bei arguing that war and chaos prevent people from achieving their dreams. Liu Bei and Zhuge Liang begin working closely together, with Liu Bei feeling like has finally found his path. While some companions express concern about being left out of these discussions, others recognize the necessity of having such a brilliant strategist on their side. The focus shifts to military planning as Zhuge Liang predicts an upcoming battle with Cao Cao's forces. He explains that Jing is a crucial territory and that their enemies won't give up after just one defeat. They begin discussing defensive strategies at Buangpo, utilizing the terrain for traps and ambushes. Yue Ying, Zhuge Liang's wife, will also serve Liu Bei. She presents herself as both an inventor and capable fighter, ready to ensure her husband's battle plans succeed. This unexpected revelation surprises some of the group members, while others already knew about her involvement. A battle strategy is laid out to stop Cao Cao's forces. The plan involves using central forces to block the enemy while flanking units capture key locations. The goal is to establish Liu Bei's role through coordinated military action and tactical positioning. The battle begins with an unexpected trap involving fire arrows. Though initially caught off guard, the forces adapt and achieve their objectives. Multiple enemy officers are defeated, opening a path to victory. The troops push forward toward the main enemy camp despite tough resistance. The battle concludes successfully, thanks to Zhuge Liang's strategic planning. This victory helps slow down Cao Cao's forces, buying time to organize the defense of Jing province. The achievement demonstrates how combining strength with wisdom leads to success. A thoughtful discussion occurs about the relationship between strategists and warriors. The strategist explains how they act as the mind of the army, but rely on capable warriors to execute plans. This builds mutual respect and understanding between all parties. News arrives about Liu Biao falling seriously ill. This development raises concerns about leadership succession and control of territories. The situation draws parallels to past events with Tao Qin and raises questions about future governance. A strategic proposal is made to take control of both Jing and Yi provinces. The plan involves forming alliances with Sun Quan and others to match Su's power. This would create a three-way split of power in the realm. Despite recognizing the logic of seizing control, there is resistance to taking Jing from its rightful successor. Instead, a commitment is made to support and assist with administration while maintaining trust and principles rather than pursuing outright control. A messenger arrives with news of Lu Zhang's surrender to Cao Zheng's forces. Despite the setback, Zhuge Liang proposes defensive strategies for Xiangyang Castle, but concerns about civilian safety lead to deciding on a tactical retreat. The situation becomes dire as peasants flee from invading forces and seek guidance after being displaced from their castle. These refugees have endured significant hardships and desperately need leadership and direction in this crisis. A discussion takes place about a challenging march involving civilians. There are concerns about the slower pace caused by bringing civilians along, though there's reassurance that Cao's forces likely won't harm peaceful peasants. The conversation touches on the Longzong plan and the vital acquisition of Jing province. A thoughtful reflection occurs about how a kingdom is more than just territory. It's really about the people who live there. Despite having taken Jing province, there's an emphasis on working together to overcome challenges and find solutions. The focus is on combining abilities to move forward successfully. The slow pace of travel creates a dangerous situation, with Cao Cao's forces potentially catching up. A plan forms to seek help from Lord Lu Qi in Jiangxia, where someone has a useful favor to call in. Guan Yu agrees to help secure troops while others stay behind to protect Liu Bei. Questions arise about Liu Bei's decision to travel with so many civilians during the retreat. There is concern about casualties and confusion over why civilians show such loyalty despite the risks. This situation reveals Liu Bei as potentially more complex than initially thought. An intense battle breaks out at a bridge, with Zhang Fei making a dramatic stand against multiple opponents. Despite being outnumbered, there's fierce fighting as forces try to cross the bridge while others defend it. The clash shows both sides' determination. The battle continues with multiple defeats of enemy officers. Liu Bei's son returns safely, bringing relief to many. Despite some losses, the group pushes forward, maintaining their resolve to continue despite the difficult circumstances. The situation develops with successful negotiations at Jiangxia and preparations for confronting Cao's main force. Strategic plans are being put into motion while analyzing the current state of affairs and contemplating past decisions. A mysterious fog appears, creating an eerie atmosphere. This leads to a dramatic confrontation about protecting Liu Bei, raising questions about conviction, violence, and the true nature of heroism. Deep philosophical discussions emerge about peace and justice. Ancient wisdom is shared about how empires and people naturally cycle through unity and division. A significant parting of ways occurs between guardians of peace, with some choosing to support heroes openly, while others watch from the shadows. The fog finally lifts, and the group heads downstream toward Jiangxia for a fresh start. Though they escape their pursuers, there's a bittersweet feeling about their losses. Despite the hardships, there's encouragement not to be disheartened, as they must keep moving forward. A discussion occurs about accepting losses and gaining greater strength through them. The Longzong plan is introduced as a strategy to increase power to rival major forces like Cao Cao and Sun Tuan. The southward advance of Zhu presents a threat that requires forming an alliance with Wu. Concerns are raised about Wu's willingness to fight, as they might prefer maintaining peace within their borders. However, there is confidence that Wu recognizes the threat of Tiao Cao and will eventually join the fight. The immediate focus is on reorganizing forces in Jiangxia. A messenger reveals that Zhuge Liang is away meeting with Lu Su from Wu to secure an alliance against Tao Tao. Despite Wu's power, they are significantly outmatched by Cao Cao's faction. Many in Wu favor surrender, but Zhuge Liang's bold plan requires this alliance. The discussion shifts to personal reflections on fighting capabilities and having clear goals. Despite overwhelming odds, there is determination to use strength to clear a path forward. The protection of key figures during dire circumstances is acknowledged. Lord Lu Qi of Chengsha promises support, but Cao Cao's forces remain formidable with talented officers. They are considered the strongest army in the realm, presenting the greatest threat that must be overcome to fulfill ambitions and protect people. News arrives of successful negotiations with Wu. General Zhou Yu's fleet awaits at Fangkou, ready to fight against Zhou Zhao's advance force. Lord Sun Quan agrees to join forces with Liu Bei against Cao Cao, marking a crucial alliance. The battle strategy is revealed, compensating for numerical disadvantage by intercepting the enemy on the river at Chibi. The plan leverages Wu's naval expertise against Su Cao's forces' inexperience in water combat. The strategy involves exploiting enemy fatigue and disorganization on water. The plan is to set ablaze the immobilized enemy fleet, leaving them no escape route into the Yangtze. This crucial operation requires immediate movement to Chibi. A critical task is assigned regarding fire attack timing. The strategy faces a challenge with northerly winds potentially hindering the spread of flames. Success depends on detecting the right moment when southern winds blow from Chibi's cliffs at night. A major battle is about to begin that will determine the future. Everyone has prepared thoroughly and just needs to maintain faith in each other to fight until the end. The troops are encouraged to keep their heads high as victory is within reach. The enemy has implemented a strategy using chains to stabilize their ships, making them able to fight as if on land. While this shows the ruler's quick thinking, this decision will ultimately lead to their downfall. Pang Tong has proven highly capable despite initial reluctance to join. Pang Tong infiltrated enemy ranks to propose a plan to Cao Cao about preventing ship movement. This chain strategy connects multiple elements to defeat a powerful enemy. However, since a chain is only as strong as its weakest link, even small mistakes must be avoided. Reports emerge of Huang Gai's mysterious disappearance from prison despite serious injuries. The location of surrendered enemy soldiers is also unknown. Suspicions arise about potential betrayal, as Huang Gai had been openly critical and had suspicious contact with the enemy. The Longzong plan must succeed to achieve Lord Liu Bei's goals. The fire attack is crucial, and troops will mobilize when wind conditions change. Leaders emphasize the importance of timing and coordination for this decisive battle. The battle begins with high spirits as troops are rallied to support each other. The strategy involves attacking from the flanks while maintaining strong defensive positions. Archers are instructed to fire at will while preventing enemy forces from reaching land. Huang Gai reveals his true mission to infiltrate and attack the enemy from within. Though painful to act as a betrayer, he believes protecting his people justifies the deception. The fire attack begins as planned, taking advantage of the changed winds. The chain strategy becomes a fatal flaw as fire spreads rapidly between the connected ships. Pang Tong reveals his true allegiance, having suggested the chain strategy to ensure the fire attack's success. Enemy forces begin to suffer heavy losses. The combination of wind, fire, and chains creates devastating results. The flames represent the attacking forces' determination as they press their advantage. Enemy leadership realizes they have no choice but to retreat as their position becomes untenable. The enemy commander manages to escape despite heavy losses. While this major victory is celebrated, it's acknowledged that the real battle isn't over. A new plan is already in motion, with forces positioned to ambush the retreating enemy along their escape route. A strategic battle plan is being executed to pursue and trap Cao Cao between multiple forces. Liu Bei's forces are tasked with pursuing Cao Cao as part of the Longzong plan. 3 key lords, Guan Yu, Jiang Fei, and Jiao Yun, are positioned and ready to begin the pursuit. The pursuit of Ta Cao intensifies as forces press forward. Multiple officers engage in combat, with enemies being defeated along the way. The strategy involves surrounding the target while preventing escape routes. Forces coordinate to push back the enemy lines while protecting their leadership. Chang Fei reveals an ambush lying in wait for Cao Cao. Despite the trap, Cao Cao remains defiant, believing his strength will not be impeded. The plan continues, with forces blocking Cao Cao's path forward while launching attacks from behind. Careful maneuvering is required to avoid being surrounded. A dramatic confrontation unfolds as Lord Cao Cao faces opposition. Champions are rallied to clear the path forward and achieve victory. The enemy's formation begins to crumble as combined forces break through their lines. The battle evokes memories of past conflicts and shared duty. Lord Guanyan takes command of the battle, fighting for Liu Bei's dream of a better world. Multiple enemy officers are defeated in succession. Despite the seemingly endless conflict, forces persist in their mission, refusing to give up. The pursuit concludes with Cao Cao escaping, though further chase is deemed unnecessary. The strategy shifts to leading remaining forces to Lord Guan Yu, marking an important step in Liu Bei's path to power. A complex dynamic emerges regarding Cao Cao's fate. The Longzong plan is revealed to be crucial for the people's future and freedom. Despite widespread turmoil, Liu Bei represents hope and righteousness. The sacrifices made are acknowledged as necessary steps toward achieving their shared dreams of peace. A peaceful interlude follows the battle, with fighters taking well-deserved rest. The scene reflects the very peace they fight to achieve, people enjoying daily life without constant threat of conflict. This represents the ultimate goal of their struggle. Recognition is given for heroic deeds in battle. A choice is presented between becoming a prominent general or supporting from the shadows. Each path offers different benefits, public fame versus personal freedom. The narrative shifts to a touching storyline involving a doctor named Hua Tuo, and a grateful patient's family. The doctor's successful treatment leads to a request for apprenticeship, showing how healing abilities can inspire others. In a dramatic moment, vision becomes clouded while contemplating a heroic figure. This mysterious hero has the power to inspire people and ignite powerful emotions that could lead to conflict. There are deep questions about whether the potential peace at the end justifies the turmoil along the way. The focus shifts to Liu Bei, who has been chosen as the hero to carry forward Juha's vision for the future. There is a sense of watchful anticipation to see if the chosen path will ultimately bring the desired peace to the world. The weight of this important decision hangs in the balance. Siloan emerges as a key figure who has discovered their true purpose. With newfound clarity and determination, they have not only found their path, but also gathered loyal companions to join them on their journey. There is strong confidence that they will achieve their goals. The ultimate vision of a peaceful land is emphasized through repetition, highlighting it as the central goal everyone is striving towards. This dream of peace represents the highest aspiration and the driving force behind all actions and decisions.